learning how to make chocolate milk with cocoa powder is easy. It just takes a little bit of know-how. You might be thinking that it's just as easy as using a store-bought chocolate milk powder like Nesquik or Ovaltine. You just take some cocoa powder and some sugar, dump it into milk, stir, and you're done. Well, unfortunately, life is never that simple. To demonstrate, I have a little bit of cocoa powder in this small mason jar, and in this glass I have some water. I'm going to pour in the water. I'm going to stir. And as you can see, unfortunately the cocoa powder is not mixing with the water. Honestly, I think it has to do with the fat in the cocoa powder. Fat and water does not like to mix. So we can still make our homemade chocolate milk. We just have to go about it in a smarter, maybe more scientific way, if you want to think about it that way. The first step is to make some homemade chocolate milk powder. I recommend for an 8-ounce glass of chocolate milk that you use between 2 and 3 teaspoons of unsweetened cocoa powder and between 2 and 3 teaspoons of sugar. I think that a 1-to-1 ratio is best, but I'm sure that if you use 3 teaspoons of cocoa powder, you could do 2.5 of sugar. I think chocolate milk, when you control everything, just like other recipes, you might have to experiment a little bit to find exactly what you want. So if I give you a range or you see a range for any other recipe, if you have never made it before, go in the middle. So for this recipe video, I'm going to do 2.5 teaspoons of cocoa powder and 2.5 teaspoons of sugar. I think 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder is like a store-bought chocolate milk, and 3 teaspoons of cocoa powder is really rich. I think some people might think it's too much, so 2.5 is what I'll do. Honestly, I don't think this part is super critical because of what I'm going to do next. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to mix these two together. So I'm going to take the back of my spoon and just try to work together the sugar and the cocoa powder, trying to break up any lumps. You can see, nice and easy. Once again, because of what's coming next, I don't think this is absolutely critical, but I think it helps everything to combine. So now that that's done, I'll put that off to the side. Like I said, this is for 8 ounces of chocolate milk. So here I have my 8 ounces of milk, and I have a tall glass that is microwave safe. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of the milk, put it into the glass. Then I'm going to microwave the milk on high for 15 seconds. And then when it comes out, I'm going to add my homemade chocolate milk powder. I'm going to stir it. Then I'm going to put it back in the microwave for another 15 seconds. Then I'm going to stir it again. Once your milk is warmed, pour your homemade chocolate milk powder into the milk and stir vigorously. And now, so you can see, it looks a lot better than the water and the cocoa powder. Now I'm going to put this back in for another 15 seconds, and then I'm going to stir it again just to make sure it's all combined. However, if you have done what I have done in the past, and you have your 2 tablespoons of milk here, and then you add your homemade chocolate milk powder, and you realize, oh wait, my milk is still cold, don't worry, you did not ruin it. What you can do is just put it in the microwave for the 15 seconds, stir it, and then put it back in for another 15 seconds and stir it. You might have some cocoa powder that's on the side of the glass here, and you have to scrape that, but it will be fine. My chocolate milk just came out of the microwave for a second time. Another 15 seconds. I'm just gonna stir it. And when you stir it, I would stir it for maybe 20 seconds. That seems to be long enough. Now the only thing that is left to do is to add the remaining milk. You definitely could add it now. I think it's gonna be okay. But what I like to do is I let this sit for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and I'll put the rest of the milk back in the refrigerator so that it's nice and cold. And then literally I'm just gonna pour it into the glass. There will be some, what's the way to describe it? Some of the chocolate is gonna clump a little bit and you have to mix it again, but in maybe 15 seconds, it'll be ready. 10 to 15 minutes later, add the rest of the milk to the chocolate milk and stir. If the chocolate clumps to the sides of the glass, scrape the glass with a spoon. And as I said earlier, after adding the rest of the milk, there would be some chocolate along the side of the glass there. All you have to do is take your spoon and scrape it like that. And if you do like I've done in the past, and you add your homemade chocolate milk powder to the 2 tablespoons of milk when the milk is still cold, you'll see it clump on the side like that. So all you have to do is scrape. But yes, now the chocolate milk is done. You could add 1/8 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract if you want. I also think maybe a little dash of salt, like very minimal, just a few grains. But honestly, I think that this chocolate milk is good as it is. And I think that if you make this, you will enjoy it. So now that you know how to make homemade chocolate milk with cocoa powder, you should give this recipe a try. If you're at home and you don't have chocolate milk powder, but you do have cocoa powder and sugar, you don't want to go out into the world for whatever reason, now you know what to do. So, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.